Good morning. During the time this model was offered, i.e. in the years 2002 to 2010, customers were offered a total of 8 petrol units, although of course not all at the same time. The first group are V6 engines. Versions offered here were 2.8 FSI, 2007 to 2010. FSI means direct fuel injection. 3.030V, 2003 to 2005, and 3.2 FSI, 2005 to 2010, with power of 210, 220, and 260 HP respectively. The 6-cylinder petrol engines in the Audi A8 D3 have one major problem. All three were offered with front-wheel drive as standard, which not only does not guarantee good traction, but is simply not appropriate in this segment. What's more, the not-so-popular Multitronic continuously variable transmission was also standard. More on that in a moment. Only the 3.2 FSI variant was available with optional Quattro drive, which was also combined with a 6-speed, more successful Tiptronic transmission. In terms of failure rates, it's not so easy to say anything about them, because they were simply relatively unpopular engines in the A8. The level of reliability is rather similar in all V6 models, so maybe not great, but also not a tragedy. The FSI versions have problems with carbon deposits and timing belt tensioners. In version 3.0, users complain mainly about quickly wearing ignition coils and leaks. After digging deeper, you can also find information about cracking blocks in the 3.030V. The next category is V8 units. Most petrol A8s are equipped with such a power source. The weakest are the 3.7 engines, 280 HP. Then we have the desirable 4.2, 335 HP, and the newer, slightly less popular 4.2 FSI, 350 HP. Apart from the typical for direct fuel injection carbon buildup in the 4.2 FSI, the problems in these engines are usually not very troublesome. Of the most troublesome, we can mention problems with the timing drive, in particular with the camshaft phase adjusters. They are not interchangeable between the 3.7 and 4.2 engines, possibly also with coils and leaks. Sometimes the car cannot be started. However, this does not change the fact that the 4.2 engines are a highly recommended power source for the Audi A8 D3, especially the versions with multi-point injection. The last group is, as I will call it, the 450 Club. The name, of course, refers to the power of 450 horsepower. We are dealing with a relatively unusual situation here, because the Audi A8 D3 range had two completely different engines with this power. The first was the 5.2-liter V10 used in the sporty S8 version, and the second, the 6-liter W12. Contrary to popular belief, the 5.2 volts 10 engine is not a relative of the 5-liter unit used in the first Lamborghini Gallardo. Audi designed it based on 8-cylinder FSI engines, and the Italian brand only later used this engine in the facelifted Gallardo. The problems are basically almost the same as in the smaller FSI engines: carbon deposits, ignition coils, and timing drive. There is also excessive oil consumption. However, one can be tempted to say that for one of the two top versions, it is not that bad. It will be similarly bad, or worse, financially in the case of version 6.0 W12, whose maintenance costs could be compared to the expenses of a small country. And it's not even about failures. They are very rare, and when they do happen, they are rather related to accessories, e.g. sensors. The problem is that the W12 engine takes up so much space under the hood that for some seemingly simple tasks, it has to be pulled out. As in the case of the S8, there is also a lack of more cost-effective replacement parts. Unlike the V10 engine, the W12 is equipped with multi-point fuel injection. The Audi Saloon offered 3 different diesel engines: 3.0 V6 TDI, 4.0 V8 TDI, and 4.2 V8 TDI, all equipped with common rail injection. Both the 233 horsepower 3.0 and the 326 horsepower 4.2 are worthy of attention, especially the V8. Faults do occur, but they are generally not particularly serious. In addition to DPF filters, the timing chain drive may also struggle with problems. The rest of the potential problems, e.g. with injectors, turbochargers, etc., should be treated as normal wear and tear, especially since many of these cars have covered several 100,000 kilometers. The 275 horsepower 4.0 V8 TDI engine offered in the years 2003 to 2005 is probably the only strongly discouraged power unit in the case of the Audi A8 D3. Apart from the standard diesel problems, there are also problems with, for example, turbine control or intake manifolds, in which the shutters changing the length of the channels get loose. Apart from the petrol V6 versions, all other A8s came out of showrooms equipped with quattro drive as standard. There's no need to worry about it. Even after years, it usually doesn't cause any problems. The gearbox issue is a bit less rosy. The 6-speed Tiptronic, always combined with quattro, a hydrokinetic automatic, is more successful and definitely more popular, but it does have faults, usually resulting in the car vibrating, unwanted sounds, or the inability to select the desired gear ratio. The causes can be various, from converter failures to a clogged oil filter. Experts advise changing the oil in the gearbox no less frequently than every 60,000 kilometers. It is worth bearing in mind that there were several types of these gearboxes, each with its own letter designation. If someone prefers to look for a used gearbox instead of repairing what they have, they will have to select the gearbox by the VIN number to be sure that it will fit. The second option is the Multitronic Continuously Variable Transmission, which is only available in petrol A8s with V6 engines and is only available with front-wheel drive. When it works properly, it's great because it's even smoother to drive than with Tiptronic, and the V6 revving up during acceleration isn't particularly bothersome to the ear. Multitronic isn't a particularly durable gearbox. The more dynamically the driver drives, the faster the multi-row chain connecting the bevel gears wears out. The condition of the lubricant is also important here. Just like in Tiptronic, you shouldn't exceed 60,000 kilometers without changing the oil and filter. Before someone starts furiously writing in the comments that of course not, just look at how many problems. Let's consider one thing: age. The Audi A8 D3 was produced from 2002 to 2010, which means the youngest examples are currently 12 years old. That's quite a long time. The mileage of most examples is also quite high, apart from the ones with rolled-back odometers. Because no one bought an A8 to so-called hang around the chimney, most of these cars were intended to cover considerable distances on motorways. However, if we are dealing with a well-maintained model with an engine other than 4.0 V8 TDI, preferably 4.2, it doesn't matter whether petrol or diesel, then this may be a good choice for the coming years. Of course, provided that the car does not see any stupid savings on servicing. If you are planning such, it is better to buy a new Toyota Aygo, because Audi A8 D3 and any other is not a car for the miserly and ignorant. And if you know of any common errors, your comments are welcome.